jobs and designated driving. And I mean, it's too accessible to be responsible for people to not.
Correct. And I want people to have a designated driver before they go out, have that plan, because we know there's all those reports of Uber, all those sexual assaults and, people dying and whatnot. And, have a DD, because, look, you could drop your drunk friends off at the wrong house and try to watch them get out of that house. That'd be fun for you. But have that plan. Record it, because they're going to need it for their court hearing later on. But when anything goes bad, it's your loved ones who are going to be there for you or not. So, have a designated driver. And if you're in your group and no one's saying they're going to be sober for that night, then stay home.
Yeah.
But have a DD with the group you're at. Rotate, take turns. Tell the bar that you're the designated driver. Maybe you get a discount on your food or something. But be that hero for that night, and that's that personal responsibility that needs to come back and should come back.
It must be really interesting being a comedian too. You said one of your friends was on America's Got Talent.
Yes, yeah. My good friend Greg Morton. He's in the first couple of pages after the introduction. A really good friend of mine, and it was exciting when I published the book. That was the week that he was on TV, and we were both excited for each other. And I saw him, I think last month in Cleveland, and it was nice to see people lined up after the show, waiting to see, take pictures with him and get his autographs.
Neat.
And, because in comedy, he's been in the business for 40 years and now just getting his big break. And that's a long time.
On America's Got Talent?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's been in the business for that long. And, when I got into it, I love it. I still love doing it. But the lifestyle didn't really agree with me. I still had student loans, first of all. And, so the nice thing is I could work at my day job. I work in a university, and I can still perform. I can still do the program, but I still have health care. I still have benefits, all those things that grown-up people should have. So, and there's nothing better than writing a joke and then tossing it out there for an audience, because the voices in your head say, oh, this is funny, Michael. And then when you do it live, the audience will go, no, it's not. And but that's that process. That
crickets like it, though.
Oh, yeah, crickets love it. And you also learn, if your friends or other comedians are sitting in the back and they are the only ones laughing, then the joke sucks. And then there's your moment of clarity when you're walking up stage.
Are they laughing to be nice? Or are they laughing?
Oh, no. No, we're brutal to each other. I mean, it all comes from a good place. But, yeah, it was interesting because we're harsh on each other. We also want each other to succeed, but we also give each other so much grief.
Yeah.
Because we could take it. We've all been there where we bombed, and you kind of go, okay, another show in a half hour. Let me get back up there, and then the second show is different and better.
Yeah.
No show is ever the same. It's interesting because I could sit in the courtroom and make the drunk drivers laugh, because in the program I start off with a comedy. Because when the drunk drivers showed up, the impaired drivers, their arms are crossed, they look mad, and I understand that, but you reduce their tension by making them laugh first, and then I could take the audience wherever I want. And was it 2 weeks ago? I was working the comedy club, and I thought, well, if I can make the drunk drivers laugh in a courtroom, I can make these people laugh. Then I went, no, it's a whole other situation, and I can't think like that, because then you get too cocky. Right. And you kind of go, and nervous and whatnot, and then you blow it. And but there's no better feeling than writing your own joke than having that reaction of laughter. I started as a kid doing magic, which is why it's called the magic of life. Because I was doing magic tricks when I first started, and then after 9/11, where you couldn't carry the needle through the balloon trick, you couldn't get the needle on the plane and other stuff, because now the needle's a weapon. I totally got rid of the magic and just did the stand-up part. And there's nothing better than that, because anyone can go to the magic store and buy a trick and practice it. But for comedy-wise, if you're writing your own material and it works, that's what we live for. That's the drug that we love and need. And on stage or off stage, that was always the defense mechanism. But since grief counseling, even more so, I separate those two. Because, I'm not on off stage. In fact, I'm more probably shy and quiet off stage than I am on. That's my time to, for that part. And then off stage, more relaxed and quiet and reserved.
Yeah, there's a lot of performers that are like that, though.
Oh, yeah.
They're social anxiety, but on stage, they're completely outgoing.
Right. Oh, yeah, definitely. It's too much energy to keep up on off stage and on for that. I know I have friends that are always on, and that gets a bit tough sometimes talking with them, but you kind of get the reason why. But, yeah, it's nice when you can just flip that switch and go on and off. And, I like my quiet time. I like it where the phone doesn't ring. It's just me and the TV or just a book or something and escape. So, the comedy in a way is cheap therapy for me on stage too, as much as the audience. Because when you're seeing the audience leave and someone says, "Oh, thank you for making me laugh. I really needed that." Just like in counseling, when you help someone, that's awesome. And then you sit and wonder, man, what's going through their life where they really needed that? And then, so that's always a good feeling. And through the program, what's nice is I can combine the comedy part and then the helping part of sharing my story. And that's the best of both
The Magic
worlds.
of Life Foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So it's time for our second break. And we will be back with Moments of Clarity and The Magic of Life with Michael Gershe.
Cool. I look forward to it.
In just a moment. Please stay tuned.
We will return to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner after these messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one. Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. I'd like to give a shout out to musician-songwriter Don Lawson, who wrote, produced, and performed all the vocals and instruments on my Moments of Clarity theme song. Don gained his inspiration as a mental health counselor himself. He's always looking for artists to record his songs, and you can hear more of Don's music at reverbnation.com/Don Lawson. You can also check him out on Twitter at Don Lawson Music. Thank you so much, Don, for your contribution to Moments of Clarity and ending the stigma on mental health. It's awesome.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Now back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor. To engage in the conversation, call 866-826-1340. Here's Tiffany.
Hi, welcome back. This is Moments of Clarity. My name's Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And with me today is the author of The Magic of Life. He's funny. And the story is he was hit by a drunk driver that killed his mother and nearly himself when he was only 8 weeks old. And as he's been going through life, he has learned to become a professional swimmer, a comedian, an author. You've got a master's of education, too, a college professor.
Yeah, I do teach the first year experience class. So I don't know if it's a full professor as much as
adjunct.
There's no one else to teach it. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's my day job.
But anyway, let me welcome back Michael Gershe. So yeah,
Gershe, yes, thank you. I work at Kent State as an advisor, so we teach the class.
So your last name is pronounced Gershe.
Gershe, yep.
Gershe. I'm sorry, I know the E.
That's okay. I've heard much worse, so it's perfectly fine.
Gosh.
Yes.
But and the book is called The Magic of Life, a son's story of hope after tragedy, grief, and a Speedo. It's a little bit of funny. There's some pictures. It's a really easy read. And not only that, but really heartfelt. And it's good for this time of year, too, for, if you want to get a good story on that. So you said that grief counseling really helped. And I want to welcome you guys to call in, 866-826-1340. 866-826-1340. Join us, or some feedback, anything you want.
Yes, please. Call. I'm here.
Call. So during the grief counseling, did you figure out how comedy was maybe a defense mechanism and blocking you from really mourning or grieving?
I think I knew that beforehand, but now it was more of an awareness. And I think it was more comedy and the use of humor in relationships more than anything else. Because I was really looking at internally and going, I got to fix me. I'm broken. And so I'm going to start that answer all over again now. Yes. It gave me that moments of clarity.
Yeah, you're trying to get the
Yeah,
bells
no, I
in.
was. I want to get as many bells as I can in the next 10 minutes. I'm going for a record is really what it is.
I think you're at it.
But the humor, yes, because of how I used it and really looking at a deeper inside look of myself. Relationships, friendships, but also on how I dealt with the grief. You hide that pain, and you would make a quick joke about something, and then, it was, if you make a joke, then you're really not dealing with that serious issue anymore. And then, I had to do grief appointments, with myself, where you'd scream and cry, or, my counselor had me do different things, which I really did. And because there was, I went twice before. And I write about my friend Big John Kelly in the book, who is one of my best friends, and he died as a result of being a drunk driver. And that crushed me. I mean, he knew my story for 15 years, and he got behind the wheel of a car, and he was being pulled over by the police at the time. So his death, the anger and the things that I used in grief counseling really helped, because there's days I was still mad at John. There's days I still laugh and cry and all that stuff. But, my humor really allowed me not to deal with those serious issues. And finally, I just had to, put the humor aside as I dealt with the grief part, not only for my mom, but for John, my grandparents, and my father and my aunt. And the humor was never going to go away, but I knew I was in trouble where, every morning on Facebook, I would try to write a joke. I'd read every newspaper I could online and watch the TV shows and try to write a topical joke. And I knew for a few weeks or a month or whatever it was, when I wasn't writing anything, I knew I was in trouble. Because as a comedian, if you lose your sense of humor, well, what are you going to do?
It's like, writer's block
toast.
or something.
Right. It wasn't even writer's block. I had no desire to make people laugh or to even do that. And that was a side I was losing. And it was self-identity, just like when I stopped swimming in college. And that was probably the first time I thought about, I was diving into or connecting with my own depression and suicidal thoughts. Because up until that point, all I did was school and swim. So if you take away the swimmer part, well, who am I? And I didn't know. So that really scared me, through grief counseling, looking back at that. And that helped me write that part of it in the book in terms of, once you lose a side of you, just like my father lost that side of being a husband. So even though it was just short 6 years that they were married, but still you lose that role.
With two small children, though.
Right, correct.
And they were young. Did he ever remarry?
He never remarried, but him and Dolly actually had a relationship. So you take, again, it blossomed out of nothingness. And that was beautiful to see. It was always normal for me to see that because I grew up with Dolly. It wasn't like, she came into our family when I was 10. She raised me since I was an infant. So that, to me, that was always normal. Other people would say, well, who's the black woman with two little white Jewish boys or whatever it is? Is it your maid, your housekeeper, nanny? No, it was just Dolly. It wasn't about those roles. It wasn't about anything but basic human need. And she taught me about unconditional love and what the human spirit could do. And man, I'll say this every time: if our world had a lot more Dollys in it, we wouldn't be so messed up.
Right.
My brother and I joke in terms of the discipline she gave us way back then would be called child abuse today, but we needed it. No, I didn't know. I'm an angel, but my brother probably needed it more than me. Of course. But the humor's there. But yeah, it was just use it differently, and not so much as a defense mechanism. I still do, but I think I'm a lot more in tune with it now than I was before counseling. I did it for 6 or 7 months, maybe 6. And I know if I need it again, I'll go back. But, where I'm at, I go hiking a lot. I'm into photography. And even that nature therapy is great. So I learned to do things just for me, and that's what I need. You need that break. Gym, working out,